everyone, my name is Jug Markovic and I am a composer of the piece called Nula, which in English translates as zero. I'm holding a 500 billion dinar banknote, the largest denomination ever printed in Yugoslavia. This one comes from December 1993, when Yugoslavia hit the largest inflation rate, one of the largest ones in the world economic history and the second largest one in the 20th century. Having said that, I would like to explain that the text for this piece comes from two different sources, two different reservoirs. One is a rather personal one, and the other one is a statistical one. The first personal one deals with my own memories. It is actually a list of objects, a list of pictures, phrases, situations, smells and colors that I associate with growing up in Belgrade during early 90s, while the other one is rather statistical and deals with hyperinflation during 1993. In this personal reservoir, containing my own memories, there are several recurring words that one can find spread out throughout all the piece. Those are devise, vise, marke, diesel, and super, referring to petrol. Devise, meaning foreign currency, in this particular case German marks, has a special place in this piece. German marks were precious during the war-caused inflation, and the only way to keep money from becoming gradually worthless was to keep it in German marks. One could buy German marks only on the street from the dealers that would announce their business to the locals by quickly saying word devise. In reality, it sounded like this. Another thing that you would buy at the dealer, apart from foreign currency, was petrol. And that I remember as one of the very fond memories from those years, going with my father to buy fuel, usually in 5-liter canisters. The green one was from Hungary and the red one was from Romania. The petrol that we would then ourselves tank into the car. And during this process, there was so much the smell of the petrol that I really loved. And I never missed a chance to tank the petrol so I could smell it. And this smell, even nowadays, transports me to the 90s. Somewhere in the middle of the piece, a sentence appears that does not belong to either this personal group of texts, nor to this statistic group. Namely, it is a quote from President of Serbia at that time, Slobodan Milošević, and it says, "Snage haosa I bezumlja," in English, forces of chaos and madness. It is how Milošević commented on the series of anti-government protests that happened in March 1991, culminating on the 9th of March, when they gathered more than 100,000 people on the Square of Republic in Belgrade. The so-called March protests were then dispersed by water cannons and tanks. Amongst all those people, it also included my parents and my 4-year-old self on the shoulders of my father. That is the day when I started my long-lasting protesting career. The second portion of the text of Nula, as already said, deals with hyperinflation and uses the list of daily inflation rates of December 1993. On example, most of the days of that December, daily inflation rate was between 80% and 120%. During those months, 3 largest denominations were printed. 10 billion dinars. This one has 10 zeros. 50 billion. And the largest one I have already shown you, 500 billion dinars, containing 11 zeros. Don't let these large numbers fool you, because you could have had a bag full of these banknotes and still not be able to afford basic living. I remember that during mid and late 90s, at my grandmother's place, we used to have a pile of those worthless banknotes. I used to throw them in the air and swim in them like in some kind of expensive American music video. The music ends with a German language sentence that says, "In the morning you have 10, in the afternoon 5, and in the evening 2, referring to how much was the money losing its value daily in hours. Because hyperinflation makes you hyper poor.